Happy Wednesday, church family. I hope this message finds you doing well. I hope you and your family are doing well. And as this season progresses, I miss you more and more every single day, and I cannot wait for the day that we are able to be back together. But until that day, I hope that you are embracing these moments as a family, that you are embracing the moments that you get to spend as a family. We're not as hurried, we're not as busy, and I feel like that's a big blessing. Lacey and I are actually remodeling part of our house. We're repainting everything. We're adding new things, and so we're finding good moments to be together and to really make our new house a home. And I hope you and your family are finding those moments as well. Growing up, I had a movie that I was absolutely fearful of. And it's going to surprise you of which movie it was, but it was The Wizard of Oz. I was so scared of The Wizard of Oz. I hated that movie. It scared me to death. It was like my modern day horror movie as a kid. I couldn't watch it. I don't know if it was the flying monkeys. I don't know if it was the witches. I don't know. It just scared me. It wasn't my favorite movie. And it wasn't until I was in high school, almost in college, when I sat down with a bunch of my friends from my youth group growing up, and we watched The Wizard of Oz, that I fell in love with this movie. And I think I fell in love with this movie because of its parallels to the book of Exodus. Now keep with me here. Dorothy is on the yellow brick road, and she is finding her way home. She's encountered different people. She encounters different challenges, different adversities, but she finds her way home eventually. And I think this is the same way with the book of Exodus here with our Israelites, that they are searching for their way home. They're on their yellow brick road per se, on their way home, and they encounter many different challenges. They encounter many different people. But eventually they find their home. And so I want to kind of give you some encouragement through this thought, because my favorite character is actually the Cowardly Lion. The reason he's my favorite character is because I think he resembles a bunch of us. I think we resemble him. A lot of times we think we are being very courageous, but we fall a little short. And eventually he finds his courage, and I want to encourage you to find your courage today. And in the first chapter of Exodus, we run into two very strong women in the story of Exodus. And I think they're women that we overlook in the overall story of Exodus. Starting in verse 15, it says, "Then the king of Egypt said to the Hebrew midwives, one of whom was named Shiphrah, and the other was Puah, when you serve as a midwife to the Hebrew women and see them on their birth stool, if it is a son, you shall kill him. But if it is a daughter, she shall live. But the midwives feared God and did not do as the king of Egypt commanded them, but let the male children live. So the king of Egypt called the midwives and said to them, 'Why have you done this, and let the male children live?' The midwives said to the Pharaoh, 'Because the Hebrew women are not like the Egyptian women, for they are vigorous and give birth before the midwife can come.' So God dealt with these midwives, and the people multiplied and grew very strong. And because the midwives feared God, he gave them families." And then Pharaoh goes on to give another command. But I think we can take a note out of the book of these women. To be courageous, to stand for what we believe in. Guys, we are following an awesome God, and a lot of times the things that God has called us to do, the things that God has called us to be, will stand adversely in the face of what the world is calling us to be. So I want to encourage you to think about this week, to find moments to be courageous, to stand tall for what we believe in, for the God that we believe in, for the God that we follow. To stand up against the injustices, but to be courageous most of all, because God has called us to be courageous. That's my blessing for you this week. That's my hope for you this week, is that we can find times in our lives that we can be more courageous. Because we all have the courage somewhere. It just sometimes doesn't come to the surface as much as we hoped. I hope y'all have a blessed week. I hope that you and your families have a blessed week. And I, again, cannot wait until the time that we are back together as a church family. But until then, may God bless you.